Welcome to Murderers and Monsters. Before we begin today, a brief warning: contents may be disturbing and language may be explicit and inappropriate for young listeners, so listener discretion is advised. Hey guys, it's Marie.
Hey, hey, it's Shelby.
Today we're doing a case that was recommended from one of our listeners, and I just want to give a big shout out to Rachel. I hope that you enjoy this one. I did this one just for you. So, it's my week. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to jump off into the story this week. I told Shelby what I was going to do whenever we discussed Rachel suggesting this one. So she didn't look into anything. So we're just going to go ahead and jump
We
off.
got a whole raw reaction over here.
So, all right, guys, well, we're going to get started. Today we're talking about the Lululemon murder. Some of y'all may not be familiar with Lululemon. What actually Lululemon is it is a high-end yoga athletica apparel store. A pair of yoga pants is anywhere between $100 to $120 in the store. It's very, very
Wow.
high end. Yeah. And they are actually the company who came up with the whole idea of quote unquote yoga pants. I mean, that's where,
Really?
yeah, that's where it actually
I'm
originated
wearing a
from.
pair right now, but they
Are you
ain't
yoga
Lululemon.
Yeah.
They like
I
the
mean,
$8 ones from Walmart.
that's what I was fixing to say. Like, I love yoga pants, but I'm not spending $100 on them.
No.
I'm just not gonna do it.
Yeah.
I will go to Walmart, like you said, spend $12
Mm-hmm.
and they're gonna look
Yeah.
pretty much the same.
Yeah.
So
I've had the same pair for probably, I don't know, maybe 8, 9 years, and they just
right.
ripped at my thighs. I
Right.
mean, they just rip. I mean, they last.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they're supposed to do. I mean, so
Right. And they was like $8 from Walmart. So
yep. So
just saying.
yeah. So on March the 12th of 2011, a store manager named Rachel came in to open the Lululemon store in Bethesda, Maryland. What she
For
found,
for clarification, it's not the Rachel that recommended the case.
no, it's not, but that's just a happy coincidence. So she came in to open the store, Lululemon store in Bethesda, Maryland. What she found was truly horrific. As she walked into the store and sat down her things, she began to notice that the shop was in kind of a disarray. There were things on the floor. She immediately freaked out when she saw blood. So she hightailed it out of the store. I have a question. If you were in the same situation and you walked into your place of work to be the opening manager or what have you, and you see such a sight in front of you, what would you do? Would you stay to investigate or would you be like,
Absolutely
I'm
not. I
out?
mean, I'd be in shock initially, I think,
Mm-hmm.
but I ain't gonna stay. I mean, as much as I would love to investigate, I'm not an investigator. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're not
Yeah.
at that point in my life,
Yeah.
and
Right.
so I'm out. I'm out. I'm so far gone. Like 911 is on the phone, and I'm running out of there.
Right. And I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know how I would react because I would see that and I would be like, is somebody hurt? Is it my place to go look to see if
Right.
somebody's I would be confused for a minute. I honestly, to be honest, to be 100% um clear, I don't know what I would do, to be honest.
Yeah.
I would have to be put in that position first.
Right.
So she immediately ran back outside the store. She saw a man sitting in front of the Apple store, which was actually right next door. It was kind of like a little strip mall. It was called Bethesda Row, and it had a bunch of different little like restaurants, Apple store, the Lululemon store, stuff like that. So
Like
she
an
saw,
outside type
mhm,
like setup. Okay.
yeah. So there was a guy standing in front of the Apple store next door because it was actually it was 2011, so they were just releasing the iPad 2. So he had missed the sale the day before, so he was over there and he was standing in line because he did not want to be he did not want to miss one of the tablets that day. So she kind of got to him and she was like, "Hey, I got a situation over here at my store. Can you go in and see what's going on?" And he was like, "Yeah, I don't mind. I'll go in and see what's happening." And so he was barely in there a minute before he came back to the door and he told her, he was like, "Call 911 now."
Mm-hmm.
So he walked back in the back hallway of the store. It was kind of like the storage area. He had found someone laying face down in a pool of blood. That person was also covered in blood, which was on the walls, the ceiling. It was like everywhere. As he was waiting on the police, he heard like this really low moan from further on back. So he went on back to see what it was, and it turned out to be another person in a bathroom. There was he found a woman. She was also bloody. She was bound with zip ties. She had her arms zip tied above her head. She had her ankles zip tied together, and there was an obvious rip in the crotch of her pants. There was also an obvious rip in the crotch of the pants of the person who was out in the hallway. So the two women that were found that day, one was Jana Murray, age 30, and the other one was Brittany Norwood. She was 28. Both of them were employees who were actually supposed to close the Lululemon the night before. When the police arrived and they surveyed the store, they saw merchandise thrown all over the store. The flat screen TV was on the floor, clothes were thrown about, and there were bloody footprints everywhere. It was actually Jana who was in the hallway of the storage area. She was face down in a pool of her own blood, and she was pronounced dead at the site. She was covered in blood, and the crotch of her pants was cut open. It was exposing her. Next to her was an open toolbox with tools thrown around, and they were also covered in blood.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Next, they found Brittany in the employee bathroom. She, however, was alive. They put her in an ambulance and they rushed her to the hospital because she was bloody. She had a gash on her head, all that kind of thing, all that kind of stuff. And, but the cuts were a lot less severe at first glance than the ones that they had observed on Jana. But when she got to the hospital, she was treated for these wounds and she was also tested for sexual assault. Brittany was interviewed, and this was the story of what she said happened. She said that the night before that she and Jana were closing and they locked up, left, and when she realized that she had forgot her wallet that had her Metro card in it because she was taking the train, she called Jana. She actually called another employee because she didn't have Jana's number. So she called Jana after she got her number and was like, "Hey, how far away are you? I forgot my wallet and I need to go back to the store." And Jana was like, "It's okay. I forgot my laptop. I'll meet you back there. It's not a problem." So she told the police that when they met back at the store, they both went inside looking for whatever they had left behind, the wallet, the laptop, and they had left the door open because they didn't think it was going to take, well, not open, but unlocked. So because they didn't think it was going to take but just a few minutes, for them to just grab their stuff and go. So she said as they were getting ready to leave, that two guys in black, she said they sounded white from the tone of their voice and the way they were speaking, grabbed them, beat them, raped them, and that during this whole altercation, she was being drugged by her hair. She could see that Jana was being beaten, that they were dragging her, the other person was dragging her by her hair down the hallway. She could hear the screams and she says that she was a witness to everything that was happening. She said that she saw the other person that was with Jana grab her, rape her, and just continue to beat her over and over. She said the person that had a hold of her grabbed her by her hair, drug her down the hallway to the bathroom, and that he was like spewing all kinds of racial slurs. You're a bitch, you're a whore. He was calling her the N-word because, yes, Brittany was African American. And she just went on and on in great detail about every single thing that was happening during this whole altercation. But what she kept asking the people at the hospital was, "How's my friend? Is she okay? How's Jana? I mean, is she all right? Is she here?" At this point, she didn't know that Jana was dead. Okay.
Wow.
She was asking, just trying to see if she had made it like she did. She was upset. She was squalling. I mean, it was awful. So there was a news broadcast saying that two women had been assaulted and that one was killed, and the town was in a total tailspin. I mean, this is a small town. Things like that don't happen here. The crime rate is really, really low. It was a whole situation whenever this actually got out onto the news. And come to find out, I mean, even though it was 2011, the Lululemon store didn't have a camera in it. There weren't even any cameras along Bethesda Row except for the Apple Store. The Apple Store had a camera inside and it had a camera outside.
Interesting.
Right. So the only camera footage that the police found did, in fact, show two men dressed in black come across the screen, and they were headed away from the Lululemon store. So, I mean, that gave a little bit of credit to what Brittany had actually been telling them. But I mean, they're still doing their investigation at this point. So,
Well, I'll just say this. I
sure.
mean, and I have no idea where this story is going, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
but out of anything that I've ever, seen, like in a documentary or read about, it's typically unusual for a victim to remember every little detail, especially after shock. Like, I mean, there's times of trauma, like there'll be like missing parts,
Right.
and you might remember it over time, but and I mean, I'm speaking like from personal experience, but in a moment of trauma, like you start to remember things almost differently,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't remember things exactly verbatim, everything that happened.
Right, right. I agree with you 100%. I mean, it's the head trauma because she did have a gash across her head. It's the
Right.
PTSD of the trauma event that you just went through, things like that. So for her
Yeah.
to remember in great detail, to be able to tell them the things that she told them, I would say it was a
It's a
little
little
bit off.
suspicious.
Yeah, it's a little
Yeah.
bit off. Yeah, yeah. So also during the investigation, at the store itself, they realized that the bloody footprints, they never actually left the store. The vibe in the store, the police said, was super creepy, almost like a CSI episode come to life. As far as they could tell, everything was just like Brittany had described it. The clothes were everywhere, several sizes of bloody footprints, receipts strewn about the floor. The cash register was empty. The safe was empty. She had told them that, they had demanded that she give them the money out of the cash register, the money out of the safe, all that kind of stuff. But what wasn't there was video surveillance.
Oh.
So the store did have cameras. I'm sorry, the store didn't have cameras. And I'm like, what the fuck? It's 2011. Why don't you have cameras in your store? You sell really high end stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You
I mean,
sell
$100 yoga pants.
right,
I
right.
mean, and if that's just one pair, I mean, if you even have 20 pair in there, I mean, that's a lot of money just sitting there.
Exactly. So, I mean, but it's 2011, I guess. Maybe a lot of places didn't. I don't know. Anyway, but the Apple store next door did. And that's where they got the pictures of the two men in black that Brittany had described. Excuse me. Now they had to find them. As they were talking to the Apple employees, however, two of the employees actually said that they had heard a commotion at the store next door that previous evening. And they described beating, banging, yelling, a lot of hard thuds, women's voices talking back and forth. Why are you doing this? Just talk to me. Just talk to me. Things like that. But they said that they just figured, it was just drama, and they didn't report it. They didn't call the police. They didn't call 911. What?
I'm seeing red flags. Like,
Okay, and here's my situation with that whole thing. You tell me how you feel about it. But
mhm.
if I am in a store and I hear that going on through the wall, I'm a rubbernecker. I'm a looky loosey. I'm gonna see what's happening. Okay, because
Well, and
although
it's not even just about that, though. I mean, if you're inside of a store and you hear that going on, wouldn't you be concerned for yourself?
I'd be concerned for myself, but I would be concerned about what's going on over there because
Mm-hmm.
I'm a need to know. I'm one of them people. I'm nosy as hell. Yes, I am. I need to know. If I have to walk
Yeah.
out the front door and peek around the corner to see what's happening in the stove, I
Yeah.
want to know. You know what I
Well,
mean?
I mean, it's natural. I think human nature, even, it's just like whenever you see a car crash,
Mm-hmm.
or if you're going through a wreck, and they have like traffic all backed up, people go slow naturally because they want to see what happened, what went on. It's
As
just like it's a natural instinct that we have
right,
as human beings, is to be nosy. I mean,
right.
let's just be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really strange to not report it though. Like, hey, 911, what's your emergency? Oh, well, I don't know if there's an emergency, but I'm just really concerned about the people that I'm working next door to.
Right.
I mean, it's just,
I'm hearing a lot of unusual movements. I'm hearing some yelling,
yeah,
even
you
if it's
know,
nothing, that's their job.
yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So as far as being a concerned citizen, at the least, I would have called somebody.
And
You know what I
and
mean?
I don't know how it was at this point or anything, but even whenever I worked in retail for the brief time that I did, if I worked to a store next to me, I knew those people because
Mm-hmm.
9 times out of 10 I was in there too,
Mm-hmm.
just killing time on a break or something. So
Right.
I mean, these could have been people that he knew that he was friends with, or she knew that she was friends with, whatever. It's just
Right.
strange.
It's very strange. So when the police looked at the actual camera footage, they saw that the Apple employees listened up against the wall for 9 minutes. 9
Wow.
minutes. They listened at that wall and still didn't call 911.
Seeing a day at Six Flags, red
Mm-hmm.
flags everywhere.
I'm just saying, but keep that in mind right there that they had listened at
Nine
that wall
minutes
for
is a
9 minutes.
long time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So now on the camera footage, they saw a homeless man also while they were looking through it. And they saw a lot of blood on his clothes. So that immediately threw up flags for them. But
Sure.
when they actually hunted him down and found him, he was in the same hospital that Brittany was in. He had gotten to an altercation with another homeless guy. It was a whole thing. And they finally just knew that he wasn't a part of it, that he didn't have anything to
Yeah.
do with it. So they
And that
eliminated him
that
pretty quick.
actually is more common than I think we realize,
Mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
like violence between the homeless.
Right, right.
I'm not gonna lie, I watched a documentary on that like a couple days ago.
It's amazing how things come together, I'm telling
I
you.
know.
But um so they ruled him out pretty quick. They did, however, find the two guys in black, but as it turns out, they were just waiters from down the street at one of the restaurants. They were dressed in black. They followed that same route every day, and they quickly just kind of sort of eliminated them as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but I mean, it's natural, or I mean, not natural, but typical for whenever you go to a restaurant. I mean, 9 times out of 10, most of the employees are dressed in all black,
They are.
even
Mm-hmm.
down to the shoes. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
everything's black.
Right.
So,
It's like a whole uniform code kind of thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
hmm.
So the police questioned them and they were ruled out. So now at this point, all of the forensic reports and information were starting to come in.
Mhm.
And this is where things get interesting. Jana's injuries were documented, and she had 232 blunt force injuries and 99 stab wounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
Over
mean,
one,
that is violent.
it is. It is very violent. Over 100 of these wounds were to her head and face. Tell me how you feel about that right there. Is that or is that not a personal assault?
That, I
It's
mean,
head
that
and
was
face.
personal. That was
Right.
personal. That was, somebody was taking out some revenge. Straight
Mm-hmm.
up. Like
Right.
there's no way around that. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, no way around that.
I'm telling you that right there, when I heard that, I was like,
That
oh
was
my God.
anger.
Right. Right.
Straight anger. Because I mean, you know, mm, mm, I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't imagine. I'm just, oh my gosh, like
Right. Right.
that's just wild to
So
me. Over 100 to the face.
face and head, or face and head and face, excuse me. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. So
Wow.
she was also strangled and had wounds and bruises to her legs that looked like she had been kicked. Most of her wounds looked to be defensive, meaning that she had fought like a
Yeah.
wildcat for her life. The killing blow had actually been to the back of her head. The coroner said that she was alert and alive all the way up to that point. When that last blunt force trauma to the back of her neck severed her spinal cord, she was alive and knew everything that was happening up until that point.
So even with all the stab wounds and the blunt force and
Everything.
everything up until that point, she was
Everything.
alive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Could I mean, Could you just imagine
No, I could not.
just sitting there
Mm-mm.
until that point? I mean, what would be running through your mind?
Right. I
I've been
mean,
watching
you are laying there
totally
fighting for your life, literally.
totally off topic for half a
Sure.
second,
Yeah, yeah.
but I've started watching a new show. We all know that I'm obsessed with like these criminal shows and everything, because it's just really interesting the scenarios that they come up with because we truly have no idea what they're based on, whether or not they're true or if they have happened or are going to happen. I mean, you just never know. People are crazy.
Right.
But it's called 911.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit more recent show since like 2018 and 2020 somewhere in there, so it's a little bit more modern.
Mm-hmm.
And there are so many episodes in there, like, they save people, but some people they don't save. And you just see the last moments of somebody dying in like a paramedic or a firefighter's arms, and just the thoughts that they start spewing out, oh, I don't want to die yet, or just they start naming off people that they, want to just say like I love you to and everything. And
Yeah.
that fear of I'm about to die,
Right. It's all it's gonna
it
be
just
over.
starts to set in, and that
Yeah.
it just when you start thinking about somebody laying there like that, and they know it's coming,
Mm-hmm.
that fear, like it breaks my heart.
Yeah. It's awful. I couldn't
Yeah,
imagine being the person sitting there, like witnessing their last breath, their last
yeah,
plea. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's awful.
So, in comparison to what Jana went through, Brittany's wounds were superficial at best. Um, all the weapons used during the attack actually, come to find out, came from the store. Everything that was used on Jana and Brittany actually came from the Lululemon store. To me, that's a huge red flag. That's a huge red flag. If you're coming in to rob, rape, do whatever you're doing,
You would come in with your own.
wouldn't you?
At least, I mean, I don't know, I don't think of like the mind of a criminal, but I would think unless it was like a last minute planned attack, or not planned attack, but last minute attack. But then again, the amount of trauma that that poor girl went through,
Mm-hmm.
that was clearly personal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
would have brought
It would
traumas
have had to have been a premeditated thing, and you would have brought something
with you.
as a group, excuse me, as a duo. You would surely you would have brought something, your own knife, your own gun, your own
I guess in a way,
bat. I
quote
mean,
unquote,
something.
come in prepared,
Right, right. Okay. So, um, I mean, so if you were the ones, just like we were saying, if you were the ones planning the attack, you would definitely bring your own weapons. The next red flag, the rape kits. Brittany stated that both she and Jana were raped, right?
Mhm.
And that when the guy that was assaulting her was done raping her, then he pulled a wooden hanger off of one of uh, the
Racks.
clothes racks. Thank you, God.
I got you.
And raped her with the wooden hanger, right? Well,
Wouldn't that leave damage?
I mean, you would think. So we're gonna move on to the next red flag. It's all gonna come together. So just stay with me.
No, you're fine. But I mean, a wooden hanger is like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So next, the blood Brittany was covered with, it was both hers and Jana's. Mm-hmm. And then there were the footprints. They were a size 14 men's shoe at the store, but only for when customers came in to get alterations. So when customers would come in, men would come in and they would try on the athletic pants or whatnot. They had a service where they would like alter the pants as far as the length and things like that. They would alter it so that it would fit the way you wanted it to fit over your tennis shoes or whatever,
sure.
athletic equipment that you're wearing, whatever. So they had a pair of 14. They don't, I mean, don't get me wrong. Lululemon doesn't sell shoes. They sell athletic
Mhm.
equipment or, excuse me, athletic clothes, but they don't sell shoes.
Okay.
But they did have this size 14 men's shoes in there just for the guys to slip on, no matter what size their feet were, just to see that the pants hung the way that they
If
wanted them
they
to.
fit
Right,
or
right.
how they, yeah, that makes
Exactly.
sense.
So, but these sneakers were found in the store. The soles had been freshly cleaned and they matched perfectly to the prints that were in the store. They did, however, have blood drops on the top side of the shoes, and the laces were missing. So think about this for a minute. You're looking at this crime scene. You understand from the story that you've been told by the remaining victim who lived. She's telling you that it was her, Jana, and 2 men who were assaulting them, right? So when you go and you look at this crime scene, how many sets of footprints are you looking
I was
to
about to
see?
say, wouldn't they find more than one footprint? Because there's 4 people.
Right.
And I mean, even if
So
all that was
there,
being taken place and the girls, if they were, laying down, obviously they had to have been, they would have had some form of a footprint somewhere.
right.
You
So there
know?
should have been 4 sets of footprints, right?
Correct.
Okay. Well,
And I don't think that if a criminal is breaking in personally, I don't think that they would take the shoes from the store. Because how else would they know that the shoes were in there to wear? And then they had, you know what I'm saying? Like that doesn't sound right. I
confusing.
mean,
It's confusing.
very like
Yeah.
it's super confusing. And I
Right.
mean, even so, if you were smart enough to do something like that so that you would throw somebody off their trail, then you would take them with you because otherwise it would leave evidence. You wouldn't leave them there, right? I don't
Oh
know.
yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
Okay.
But there were only 2. There were 2 sets of footprints. There were a men's size 14 and a woman's size 7.5. The prints were also covered. The women's shoe prints, they were gone over with the size 14 men's shoe. You see what I'm saying?
Like stepped on top of,
It
kind
was
of?
like, yes. There were 2 sets of prints, but there was one over the other. So there was an
That's
original
odd.
footprint, and then there was it's like he was stepping where she was stepping. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's odd.
Right. And the fact that the shoe prints never left the store. There was a bunch of shoe prints all around the store, but when they followed the shoe prints back to where they actually stopped, they stopped in front of a chair. Stick with me.
Chair.
So then there was Jana's car. It had been parked in front of the store because, Brittany had called her back. They were just going to run in the store real quick, get Brittany's wallet, get Jana's laptop, whatever. And so she just illegally parked right there in front of the store. No big deal. It was going to be in and out,
Just
quick.
running in and out. Yeah.
Right. So it had been parked in front of the store, but when the police arrived, it wasn't there. Was it stolen by the men who allegedly came in and attacked them? Because that was the first thing that the police thought. They was like, well, they must have stolen her car, because the keys weren't there. The car wasn't there.
But how would they know if it was her car?
Well, I mean, it could have been sitting there running. They were just
yeah,
her
they were
and
running in and out.
Right. She could have just left it sitting there running, or she just could have left it sitting there, whether it was running or not. So, but a random patrol officer found it 3 blocks away the next day. Inside the car were bloody prints on the gear shift, the door, and a Lululemon hat. All were matched to, want to guess? Want to guess who they matched it to?
Who?
Brittany.
Brittany?
Yep. Within 2 days, Brittany went from victim to murder suspect.
So when the police got there, they picked them both up, right? Or I mean, Jana was dead.
Jana was dead, yes, and Brittany
was in rough shape apparently, right? Like she was
she was in the back bathroom. She had her, now pay attention when I tell you this. She had her hands zip tied above her head. She had her ankles zip tied together. She had a cut in the crotch of her pants, and she had like a gash on her forehead, which was bleeding pretty bad because you know how head wounds are.
Right.
And she had a bunch of superficial cuts on her arms, her abdomen, and her legs. Okay. So I'm not saying she wasn't in bad shape. She was bloody from head to toe.
Sure.
But
I mean, first initial look at her, you'd be like, oh,
get her an ambulance.
Here?
Yes.
Right. But then she
So,
was like, it was super weird from the start because she was like ready to spill her guts about every little detail. And
and in depth.
that was the first red flag for me because again,
Mhm.
with the whole trauma situation, you, as much as you want to remember every little detail, your mind is hazy because you are confused between reality. You're letting it set in, like what just happened to me.
Mhm.
That was like the first red flag for me.
Yeah. So, although nobody in the community wanted to believe it, I mean, you're looking at Brittany. She was smart, she was articulate, she was attractive, but she also had some problems. Okay. Um, Come to find out, she was a kleptomaniac, right? The reason that she was upset with Jana was because at the end of every shift at Lululemon, because they don't have cameras in the store and everything, what they do is whoever's on shift, they check each other's bags, right? I'll check your bag, you check mine, just to make sure that there's no theft happening. And if you did buy something, which is encouraged, um,
Yeah.
you just had to the tags would be cut off and you would have a record, a receipt or something like that, right?
Right.
Or a receipt would
I worked at Hibbett Sports one time and it was like the same thing and you couldn't check
yeah,
your stuff out. Like you had to have one of your coworkers bring the
right.
stuff up for you. And I
Mhm.
mean they had cameras in there, but it was like the same thing. Like you had to have a receipt for your stuff.
Right.
They wouldn't necessarily check your bag, but they would just make sure like you weren't taking merchandise that you weren't supposed to be taking.
Exactly. So the reason that Brittany was so mad was because that night, as she and Jana were getting ready to leave, Jana had checked Brittany's bag and there were a pair of yoga pants in it. But there wasn't a receipt, the tag wasn't cut off, and there was no proof that she had actually paid for them. So Jana looked at her and she was like, "So did you buy these today?" And she was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot to get the receipt, but so and so from day shift, she checked me out, whatever, whatever." And Jana was like, "Okay, well, until we, get proof, get a receipt, whatever, we're just gonna leave these yoga pants here, and we'll just address the whole situation tomorrow, right?" But because Jana was also a manager, when the first time that they had actually left, she had went out there and got in her car and she called the girl that Brittany had named because she had her phone number. And she was
Sure.
like, "No, I didn't. I mean, I didn't. I didn't check out anything for her today." And Jenna was like,
Mm,
"Okay." So she called Rachel, who was the actual overall manager, and she was
right.
like, "Hey, this is the situation. I found these yoga pants in Brittany's bag, whatever." And Rachel was like, "All right, don't worry about it. We'll take care of it tomorrow."
Mhm.
So Jenna was like, "Okay," and that was the end of it. I mean, until
She did what
Brittany called,
anybody would do,
right,
as in a position of hers, and especially somebody that actually cares about their job.
right, and I mean, nothing. She didn't think anything about it, to be honest. I mean,
Sure.
she did what she was supposed to do, follow the chain of command,
Right.
whatever. And then when Brittany called her to go back to the store, she was like, "Sure, no problem," you know. So when it was all said and done, this whole situation happened over a pair of yoga pants. Everything that we just talked about happened over a pair of yoga
So
pants.
hold on, wait.
No,
So
no, I got more for you. Go ahead.
okay, so I'm just confused because the amount of stab wounds and trauma that this poor girl had on her body
Mm-hmm.
was over a pair of yoga pants.
Yes, ma'am.
How ridiculous.
Right?
I mean,
Over a
how ridiculous.
over a pair of $100 yoga pants. You
I'm curious to
killed
hear more.
mutilated. Yeah. Okay. So Brittany had a history of stealing, and all the way back to when she was in school, then when she went to college. She actually, I mean, she was very charismatic. She earned a scholarship in soccer. She was athletic. She was well liked, but she had a problem stealing. It wasn't like she couldn't afford it, because she could. She wasn't poor, but she had a problem. If somebody had something that she liked, she got the opportunity, she would take it. When she was in college, there was a girl that was actually on an interview that I watched. She was like, "Yeah, we were really close. We were best friends, but she had a problem. She was a klepto. I mean, she couldn't help herself. Even though she had pretty much anything she wanted, she could not stop herself from stealing. When she was in college, there was when she would go to the soccer locker room and stuff like that, one of the girls was interviewed that was on the soccer team with her. She said that when she got on the team, that all the other girls would look at her and go, "Hey, make sure you lock your locker. I mean, she's got a problem. Your stuff will go missing." You know what I mean? She steals. I mean, bottom line, she steals. So,
She made a bad rep for herself for
oh
sure.
yeah. There was even a situation while they were in college. She had this boyfriend, and there was actually a warrant taken out on her for abuse. He and her had broken up because she would put her hands on him and stuff like
Mhm.
that. Well, she found out after they had broke up that he had started seeing somebody. So she started stalking them all the way up to the point to where when they were gone one night, she broke into his house and stole all of his girlfriend's stuff. Right. So I mean, it was a like it. This was a long ongoing thing for
Yeah,
her.
this wasn't just I get a thrill from stealing from a store. This
Right.
was
This
like,
wasn't the I just stole yoga pants for the first time. This was a long term thing.
yeah.
Yeah. So at this point, police knew that things were not as they seemed. I mean, they began to put the pieces together, and they were pretty sure at that point that Brittany had killed Jana. Um, by this time, for some reason, Brittany had it in her head that she knew that they were putting stuff together, right? She was seeing the holes that she had left in the whole situation.
Mhm.
Car, which hadn't even been brought up yet by the police. I mean, just a whole bunch of different things. So she called the police and she was like, "Hey, um, so I'm starting to remember a few different things that I would like to tell you about." And they were like,
Mhm.
"Yep, please come on down and speak with us. We would love to talk
Right.
to you." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they didn't actually have a reason at that point to be able to call her and go, "Hey, I need you to come down
They didn't
and
have
talk with
probable
us."
cause. They
Exactly. But
yeah,
she
they were waiting for an
volunteered.
in.
Right. She volunteered. She was like, "What's up? I remembered some stuff. You want me to come tell you about it?" So she did. So when she got down there, she began by telling them, I mean, you know that I'm a victim, um, but I need to tell you about what happened with Jana's car." And they were like, "Okay." And she said that while the assault was going on, that the men that were assault or man that was assaulting her realized that Jana's car was still sitting out in front of the store. He told her, he said, "I want you to get in that car and I want you to move it so that it's not sitting there in front of the store so it doesn't look obvious. I want you to move it 3 blocks away and then you better come right back because I have your ID. I know where you live. And if you don't come back within 10 minutes, I'm going to kill your family."
Okay, well that's stupid. I'm sorry. Like
I tell you what.
that was the dumbest thing. You just told on yourself because let's be honest, if a true person is after you, they're not going to tell you to get in a car and move it and come right back.
3 blocks away where they can't see you.
And I mean, not even just that, they would go with you. I mean, let's just be
Thank
honest, in a
you.
true hostage situation, if there's two men that she said there was, one of them's going to be with you. They're going to watch you do this whole thing. They're not just going to send you in a vehicle and say, "Hey, go park this 3 blocks away, but you better come right back or I'm killing your family." That sounds like
Right.
something out of a freaking scary movie, a cheesy scary movie. Let's be honest, like
uh,
I'm going to kill your family.
some low
That
budget film. Yeah.
Yes, some that was filmed in
Yeah.
the back of a Walmart. Like, get
Right.
out of
Right.
here.
Exactly.
She just told on herself.
Basically, yeah. So at this
If
point,
I, let's be okay, let's just
okay, go
take it a
ahead.
step further.
Go
So if
ahead.
I was just for giggles, if I had been on the receiving end of hearing that story, I would have been like, "Are you serious right now? You want me to believe this bull?" Like,
This is what we're going with. Okay.
so
Yeah.
this is your cover up? Okay.
Yeah.
No,
Exactly.
no.
So the detectives felt the same way. Finally, one of them looked at her and he called her on her lies. He was like, "Look, girlfriend, you need to just go ahead and tell me the truth about what actually
Yeah,
happened. Well, I mean, we already know. We've got the forensic evidence. We've figured this out. This is not our first day on the job.
right.
I need you to tell me in all actuality what happened that night. I mean,
Mhm.
really. I mean, just tell me what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, the pants, the call to bring Jana back to the store, the wounds on her, the wounds on Jana, the car. I mean, on and on about everything that had happened that night. But I mean, they told her what all they knew, but she denied it. I mean, she went to the mat for it. No, that's not what happened. I'm telling you the truth. This is exactly what happened. I'm not lying, whatever. And she denied it all. And they looked at her
Right.
and said,
And I'm Barney that wears clown shoes. I mean,
right,
that's
right, right,
about the same
right.
thing.
So what they did was they looked at her and they were like, Miss Norwood, you're under arrest. You have a right
Yeah.
to remain. You have the right to remain silent. You know what I'm saying?
Read the Miranda rights.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
it. That's it. That's what happened. So what had actually happened that night was that Brittany ruthlessly attacked Jana from behind, and they fought viciously. But Brittany, I mean, she was able to get the better of Jana. She had that first hit. She caught her off guard. When Jana turned around, she was like, "What's happening? I don't understand why you're doing this." Brittany hit her again, said knocked her off balance, got her on the ground. And I mean, it just went from there. She beat her, she stabbed her. She actually went to so while they were tussling in the hallway, this toolbox fell off a shelf and all different kinds of tools. I will put the pictures and things like that on our Facebook group and everything so you guys can see it. But there are like 5 or 6 different implements in this toolbox. She would beat her with one and then go get another, and then beat her with that one and then go get another, and then beat her with that one and then go get another one. I mean, it was on and on. Then she found the knife. She stabbed her with the knife. I mean, this attack took over 20 minutes. That's why I wanted you to remember about
The
the
9
Apple
minutes.
employees. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So they sat there and they listened to it for
So
9
almost
minutes.
exactly half of the time that she was being attacked.
They could have called the law, and the law could have caught that whole situation in the middle of it, right? They
Yeah.
might have been able to save
To
Jana's
save
life
her.
because it was the last hit that Brittany actually inflicted on Jana that was the killing hit. When that
Right.
happened and Jana was dead, Brittany stopped. So there was
And all of this for a pair of damn yoga pants.
Yep.
I mean,
for yoga pants, girl.
I am just
Yoga pants. Yep.
wow. So let me ask you this, and I don't know if you're getting to this or not.
Sure, go ahead.
So did she move the car after she was done killing her, and then go back into the store and then tie herself up?
Yes. So this is what happened. When she got done killing Jana, when she had realized that she had finally killed her, she knew that she had to move that car because the car was going to draw attention. She got in the car.
But not the dead body.
No, I mean, right. So she got in the car. She took the car 3 blocks away, and she sat in that car because there was a police officer that said that he had saw the car sitting there with a person in it, and that she sat there. He had done a couple of rounds by that same area just on his usual, route or whatever that night. And he had seen a person. He didn't know it was her.
Right.
Sitting in the
But it probably
car.
looked a little suspicious.
Sure. But he he didn't have any reasonable cause to stop there. So anyway, he said that she, as far as he could tell, it was about an hour that she sat in that car. Okay. Well, when she got out of the car, she went back to the store. And during what I'm to understand is during the hour that she sat in this car, she's sitting there and she is hatching her plan, right? Because she has got to figure out a way to make this look like it wasn't her. She could have just left the store, but what happened was she did not have Jana's phone number. So she had to call another employee and ask them, hey, do you have Jana's number? I left my wallet at the store, this and that. So that employee was going to be able to say, well, Brittany called me, so I know that she was there. So she had to figure out another way to cover for herself. So she decided that the best way that she could do it was to make it look like her and Jana were both attacked, right? So when they were going through the forensic evidence and things like that, and things started to come together and the whole puzzle started to, take shape or whatnot, they looked at the zip ties that Brittany actually had on her arms and her legs. Well, they were looking for teeth marks because you can put zip ties on your ankles yourself and do it with your hands, right?
Yeah.
But
you
when you
can't.
put your hands together, I know you guys are gonna be able to see this on YouTube when I put this out. When you put your hands together, because they weren't, mind you, weren't behind her back. Like if there was somebody that was being attacked, would have done that to you. They weren't behind her back. When they
Right.
found her, she was laying on
Her
the
hands were
floor,
up.
up above her head, which means that she said that she blacked out. But in a perfect world, had she still been conscious when the two men had left, leaving them for dead, quote unquote, she would have actually been able to get up and go for help or call for help or something like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Well, on the zip ties that she had put on her arms, there were teeth marks where she had
Mm-hmm.
took them and drawn them tight.
And draw them.
Mm-hmm. She laid there from whatever time it was that she finally got done with her little reenactment where she had done the footprints and she had done
She had
everything
to
she
create the
did.
crime scene to
Yeah,
make
she
it
had
look
to,
like it was somebody else.
absolutely. She had to look like they had both been attacked. So by the time she had done that, she took herself, she went in there, she laid on the bathroom floor for however many hours it was. It was probably 4 or 5 hours before it was 8 o'clock when Rachel came and opened the doors to open up the store. And they got off at 10, right? So by the time they came back, 10:30-ish, the altercation happens. She takes the car down the street 3 blocks. She comes back. She sets the scene. She had to have lain there for probably, I don't know, 5, 6 hours or more,
Yeah.
waiting for somebody to come in there and find her. You want to talk about playing a long game? I
You
don't know
know,
how you lay there with a woman or person, anybody that you just killed, mutilated in the hallway, and you lay there on the bathroom floor for somebody to find you so it looks like you didn't do it.
right, and play the victim.
Yeah.
But another part that I'm kind of just conflicted on, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
is I mean none of it like even adds up, of course. But if she was just kind of in this area of just knowing that she was comfortable with stealing stuff, I mean, what really drove her to do such violence? Because I mean, the whole story about the boyfriend and they breaking up, and then so he starts dating somebody new, and you know, she
Mm-hmm.
starts stalking them, that would have caused some rage. But what broke her to
So,
do this?
okay. So, what had happened was she was trying to be a trainer and she had an interview at this really nice upscale gym that was coming up within the next week or so. And that was her whole like future focus. She wanted to get this job as a trainer at this gym. And that was what she was shooting for. So she had an interview. It was going really well. And that within the next week to 2 weeks, she was going to have a job there. And she knew that if she had gotten caught stealing from Lululemon, that it would go on her record. And when the gym found out about it, she would miss her golden
She wouldn't have that
opportunity.
job.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what they say was her deciding factor on why
But
she did what she did to Jaina. But it just, excuse me, it
it
just
still
doesn't
doesn't
make any sense.
justify
Mm-mm,
that she
mm-mm.
went from just stealing a pair of yoga pants to killing a girl.
Right.
She
Doesn't
threw
make any
away.
sense.
I mean, you can get another opportunity. It might not be right then. It might be, months or even years down the road, but somebody will take you at some point. You can build from stealing. You can't build from murder.
Right.
You can't come back from that. You killed somebody because you made a stupid decision.
Absolutely.
you know I almost feel like in a more like deeper, super deeper level, that she
Yeah.
took out the anger that she felt against herself, because she felt like she just threw away her whole future by stealing that pair of yoga pants, but took it out on that poor girl because she's the one that caught her.
Right.
So that whole 99 stab wounds, and how many blunt force traumas?
132 blunt force traumas and 99 stab wounds, which was a total of 331 wounds altogether.
So over 300 wounds taken
Yeah.
out on somebody, and that's pure anger.
Mhm.
That ain't because you got caught.
Yeah. I'm
You know what
sorry.
I'm saying?
I said that wrong. 232 blunt force trauma and 99 stab wounds, which equals up to 331 wounds altogether. Sorry.
Right.
But yeah, either way.
But, that's anger. That is,
that is, yeah.
I mean,
that's a whole different
bizarre.
level. Yeah, that's
that
a whole
is
different level.
bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I feel like it was more of about her in that moment. She was so upset with the person that she had become, because at that point she had just thrown away her future, or what she thought would be her future.
And she was about to get found out.
And so, I mean, what better way to take out your anger than to take it out on the person that caught you?
Yeah.
Or what caught you. Yeah, basically cost you your future. Or so you thought.
Right. And the thing about it was, the thing that had me questioning everything to start with when I first started
researching.
Thank you. Researching this case. Geez. When I first started researching this case, I was like, so I know that Jana called her, but other than the fact that she called a girl for Jana's number, how would she know that anybody would be able to like hold her to it?
Yeah, and because I mean, a better lie. I don't mean to cut you off. No, you're good. A better lie would have been, you met with Jana to get there, but then you left.
Right. Right.
You don't know what happened. That would have been a better lie.
Mm-hmm. And we'll see. We have seen through this whole case right here, she is a terrible liar. She does not think about anything but herself, like you said.
Absolutely.
And she doesn't think about the consequences that are going to come, because even though you did everything that you did to try to cover up the way that you tried to cover up this, it was stupid. Some of the mistakes you made were so stupid.
That whole car story. He told me if I didn't drive it 3 blocks down the road, then he was going to kill my family.
Yeah.
But I had to come back.
Listen. Bitch, let me tell you something right now. If you ever let me get in a car by myself, look, girl, I'm sorry, but I'm finna go find us some help.
Right.
And I will do everything I can to get them back in time to save you.
By yourself and didn't watch you, didn't have any kind of tracking on you. How would they know the difference if that story was to really be true?
Exactly.
Because then I'm gonna tell you that if the authorities are gonna be like, okay, well, why didn't you come for help? You were in a car alone, and they told you that if you didn't. What are they going to do if they're arrested?
And you were already being beat. Yeah, you were already being beat and assaulted at this point. But yet he told you to go out there and get in that car, move it 3 blocks, and come back, and you did.
Yeah, that was dumb. Yeah, that's literally like the plot at like something filmed in the back of a Walmart or something. With them really cheesy, stupid movies. Yeah,
right. No, absolutely.
Get out. Get out.
Yeah. So Brittany Norwood's trial was a nightmare for Jana's family. They had to sit there and they had to listen to all of the forensic evidence, every blunt force trauma wound, every stab wound, everything. They had to listen to the testimony from the people at the Apple store who had just sat there and listened and had done nothing to save their daughter, their sister. I mean, it was awful for them. It took 6 days in the end before Brittany was convicted of premeditated first-degree murder. 3 months later, Brittany spoke before the sentencing and asked for forgiveness and asked the judge for the possibility of parole. The judge had no sympathy for this girl at all whatsoever. No.
She's manipulative. She's narcissistic. And what scares me about people like that is because she obviously has very many mental issues. I would not want her to get off easy and plead for mental insanity.
And she has zero remorse. Remorse.
None. You whatsoever. Sat on the floor in a room just however many feet away from a woman you just killed. Over a pair of freaking yoga pants. I mean, come on. You staged a murder scene or a burglary scene for you to cover up your murder scene.
Right.
That's dumb.
Right. So the judge had no sympathy for Brittany and said, quote, "This woman is a phenomenal actress. She whimpers and cries on cue," end quote. He also said, quote, "You're a hell of a liar, ma'am." And the entire community was terrorized because of you. He also told her that she had plenty of opportunity to stop the attack, but she continued. He said, quote, after every blow, you had a chance to think about what you were doing instead of mutilating this woman, end quote. So his final decree was life with no possibility of parole. That is Brittany's sentence. So to end this case today, I just want to tell y'all a little bit about Jana. Jana was born November the 22nd of 1980. She was the youngest of 3 kids. She was adventurous, outgoing. She did a lot of volunteer work. She had even traveled the world. She was very active and athletic, and she was very beautiful, and she was a sister, and she was a child. So please, let's all say a prayer for her and her family, and our hearts go out to them for their tragic loss. And that is the story of the Lululemon murder.
Wow.
Whew, I told you it had
honestly,
a twist in it, didn't I?
I had no idea that that was the route that it was going to take. I mean, my red flags were like going up.
Yeah.
But all of that was just something I did not expect. I mean, that poor girl.
I tried to tell it in a way to where I knew your flags were going to go up because I know you, but well. I tried to tell it in a way that kind of like drew it out for a little bit. So you were like questioning what I was giving you there for a little while. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my flags were going up, but I didn't want to assume anything. So I was just like, well,
this whatever. Is not adding up though.
Yeah. Like that's wild. I truly had no idea that something so twisted. I mean, wow. But you did good though. I loved it.
Thank you.
I loved it.
And I just want to say again, thank you, Rachel, for recommending it to us. If you guys have any recommendations, please send them to Shelby or I on our Facebook group, Murders and Monsters, or you can send them to us on our Gmail, murdersandmonsters1311@gmail.com. For those of y'all who don't really care about our banter and stuff like that, we're going to go ahead and say bye to you guys right now. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we hope we'll see you again. Hear you, or you'll hear us, however you want to put it. We hope that we will have you guys with us again next week. So, bye to y'all, and we're going to move on with our just chit chat.
So, how's your week?
It's been good. The weather has really eased off. It's been really cool in the mornings. Good. God, girl, I know. I'm so happy. It's
been feeling so good.
It makes me so happy.
I stepped outside in my flannel today and I didn't overheat. So that was a plus.
Yeah. I've actually been able to pull out my jeans today. I went and got my hair cut, and I had on my jeans and my little tank top and stuff like that with my Hey Dudes, and it was just like I didn't have to sweat. I didn't have to run to the car and then run inside. It was so nice. And at work it's been great. I mean, when you're working you get a little hot, but other than that, it's just really pleasant, and I'm so happy about it. So
although it does make me worry though, because it went from being like so hot to like pretty cool.
Don't speak really that fast. Shit in the air. I know what you're saying.
I'm not. I'm really not. I'm not trying to jinx it by any means, but I'm just saying it was just really odd because normally it's still pretty hot right now. It doesn't really start cooling off until like mid to late October.
Yeah, well,
and that's if we're lucky.
Well, it's cooling off, and let's be happy about it. Stop it.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I will gladly take it as long as we have it.
Right. So, have you read anything good? Because I got something.
If you do, that's fine. I'm still stuck on this book. I do really good about reading like 30 minutes or so a day. Yeah. But I'm having a really hard time getting into it. Like when you're just, something's coming up and you want to get to the point, but they're just kind of dragging it on or just kind of giving you really crappy storylines. Like that's the point that I'm at in this book, and I'm not really feeling it.
Well, I got the 2 books, the two Colleen Hoover books from my friend Alyssa. So it Ends With Us was the first one, and then the second one was It Begins With Us. I finished the first one, It Ends With Us. Fucking amazing. Loved it. And now I'm about halfway through It Begins With Us. It's really good. I'm really into it. I think It Ends With Us was a little bit better,
Okay.
but I haven't finished this one, so I can't knowledgeably say that I don't like it as much as I like the first one.
Sure. Sure.
However, Verity, I don't think she's going to be able to come close to Verity
Listen.
for me. For me, I
Yeah.
loved Verity.
You should definitely. I've got another one you can read. It's called Ugly Love. And
Mm-hmm.
it kind of did the same thing that the book that I'm in now. So that's why I'm holding on to hope. Because the book I'm reading is also by Colleen Hoover.
Yeah.
But that one, Ugly Love, I swear to you, you do not see the twist coming in that book
Oh,
at all. Like it
oh, I
just
love that.
you can feel it building or feel something building.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like hard for me to get into it at first. This was the first book I read by her.
Okay.
And it was kind of like the storyline, I kind of was following along with it, like it was good, and I just kind of wanted to get to the point. They kept hinting at the point, but they weren't getting to it. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
what are we talking about? When we
Right.
got to the point from I can't remember if it was like halfway or like three-quarters of the way through. When we
Yeah.
got to the point and then the rest of the book, it was freaking phenomenal. I was like,
Oh,
wow,
I am
wow.
I am all about a plot twist. I'm gonna tell you right
Yeah,
now. I will read the entire book. If the last
yeah,
10 pages have the most awesome plot twist in the world, I am fucking here for it. I swear
right.
I am.
But see, Verity was like on another level for me.
It was
I
it
was not expecting
almost
anything in that book.
yeah, it almost got to okay, so I'm a huge Stephen King and Dean Koontz fan. I
Mm-hmm,
love those books. I read when I was in jail, when I was in prison. I read every Stephen King book that was in the prison library.
mm-hmm.
Every one of them. I love them. Are they for some people they're a hard read because
Yeah.
when he goes
Oh yeah.
into you've read them, you read
I
some of them,
have.
right?
I have.
So
I've
when
got a
him
few.
or Dean Koontz goes into a description of say the room that I'm sitting in right now, they'll take
Mm-hmm.
4 pages to
Yeah.
describe to you
Very detailed.
how the room is, how it feels, what it looks like, what's in it. I mean, everything.
But see, to
But
me, that's what makes it good because
that puts me
I,
there.
right.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
want to be there.
Right, right,
And
right,
that's
right.
why I guess I get so spoiled on books because before a movie comes out, I'm gonna read the book first,
Yeah, because the
and then
book's
I'm gonna
always
watch the
better.
movie.
Yeah, the
The
book's
book is
always better.
1,000 times always better,
Yeah.
always.
I think I've told you this before. The only book that I've ever read that was almost exactly the movie was almost exactly as good and went pretty much by the book was Pet
Mhm.
Cemetery. I think I told you that. Didn't I tell you that?
I think so.
That's the only
I
that's the
don't
only
know if
movie I've
I've
ever
ever seen
seen.
the movie though.
That's the only not the new one. They made a new one.
Okay.
Um but the old one uh it was that's the only movie I've ever seen that goes right with the book. And
Yeah.
it was really good. I mean,
Hmm.
it's all horror. So, I
Yeah.
mean, it is what it is. It depends on if you like that kind of thing or not, but I do.
Right.
I love it. But anyway, so I am been really fascinated by these Colleen Hoover books. Thank you for
Yeah.
recommending,
Of
and thank you
course.
for the Verity book. I need to get that back to you and get another one from you. I would love
I'm
to
gonna
read
come
that
see you
Ugly Love.
soon. Listen.
I know.
it's,
I can't wait. I can't wait.
it's been tough,
Well, I mean, when you get your car, it'll be easier. So,
Yeah, yeah, because I
yeah.
don't think I could actually walk there. It would take me like a week, maybe more.
Well, I mean, we do live over an hour away from each other, so
I know.
it is what it is. But
But
yeah, as soon as you get your car back, I definitely want to get together. We go out and eat,
yeah,
maybe do a spa day or something like
something,
that. Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
yeah.
I definitely want to do those pictures we talked about too, because
Yes,
I really want to put them on our website and stuff like that.
yes, I
So,
am definitely working diligently on that because yes, that needs
yeah.
to happen. I'm
Okay.
so down.
Any movies or anything you've seen recently?
Um, Not movies, but let
Hmm.
me tell you, this going back to earlier when I was talking about that 911 show,
Sure.
it is so freaking good. I
Okay.
don't know how I keep missing it. Like I finished Gilmore Girls. So I was like, okay, I'm kind of tired of the whole, like I love the 90s and I've just been really obsessed with watching all this like the OC, One Tree Hill, stuff like that. But I was like, let me get just something different. Like, let me
Yeah.
just throw something totally new in the mix.
Yeah.
And so this 911 show has me in a chokehold.
Okay. I'm gonna
Listen,
have
it
to check
is
it out.
so good. I think I started it late Monday. I'm already in season 3.
Holy
And there's
shit.
like 7 seasons.
Wow.
It
Okay.
is so freaking good. I swear. One episode, it'll just have me like so happy for the people in it. Then the next, I'm bawling my eyes out. And
Mm,
it's not so much that you get attached, like you get attached to the characters and everything, but
of
you just get
course.
attached to the story.
Hmm.
And I think that has been a really long time since I felt the story, like the story just feels so real, you know?
Right. Right. Right.
And it's just about like 911. So like you have the 911 operators, then you have the firefighters, the paramedics, you have some cases of the doctors, but it's really just the first responders,
Yeah.
the beginning and the middle part. And it just kind of tells a little bit of the story about how the 911 operator feels on the other end of a phone on a crisis, or something, is
Sure.
happening on
Yeah.
the other end.
Hmm.
And it is so good.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
So good.
Yeah.
There's a little boy on there and he's got cerebral palsy, and
Aw.
he's my favorite. I ain't even gonna lie. Like he's so
Remind you of
cute.
Tucker?
Um, in a way, I guess.
Yeah.
But I love my Tucker.
Yeah. I
She'll
saw
usually call
some.
me.
I saw Samara and Tucker yesterday at
Oh,
Circle K.
really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she called me today and she's like, I saw your cousin yesterday. I'm surprised if she
Yeah.
didn't tell you. And I was like, oh no, but we haven't really talked this week. But she's been FaceTiming me the last couple of days, and Tucker's been so active. He's finally starting to become more vocal.
Oh,
She sent
good.
me a video the other day and he was like, go dogs.
Oh, how sweet. How sweet.
So it's awesome.
That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
He warms my heart, that boy.
Yeah. He's a sweet baby.
He is. He's a handful. But
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, no, that show is so good. So
So the only 90s show that I can really tell you that I loved Dawson's Creek.
see, that's on my list. I've never
I
watched it.
loved Dawson's Creek.
That's
I
on my
love
list.
the chick named Joey. I liked her so much. I didn't finish
Okay.
it, but I did watch several seasons of it, and I really,
Mm-hmm.
really liked it. I really did.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep. I've been on a real 90s kick lately.
mhm.
I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm praying that NSYNC, because they're back together, that they go on tour. Listen,
You and
I
your
don't.
90s boys bands, I swear.
And you know what's crazy? The biggest thing was always the controversial was always between NSYNC and Backstreet Boys, but there were a lot of other really great boy bands. You have like 98 Degrees, New Kids on the Block was my favorite,
Yeah.
all time,
Yeah.
favorite. You had like O Town. I mean, there was just so many other really good choices. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if NSYNC, especially if NSYNC and Backstreet Boys go on tour together, I'll sell my kidneys. I don't care. I'm gonna be there. Like,
Yeah.
there's not a doubt about that. I don't care how much they're gonna cost. I'm gonna be
Does
there
not matter.
at
Bar
all.
none.
That
Doesn't
is a
matter.
once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah.
So
I
I'm
got
gonna
you.
be there.
I got you. The only thing I watched recently, I mean, I'm still on the CSI kick, but
Mm-hmm.
we did watch Forrest Gump this past
Yeah,
weekend. And
yeah,
that's one of my all-time favorites. I don't even
it's so
care.
good.
I love that movie. Mickey's like, "You want to watch this?" I pulled it up because I was in here working and he was watching the
Mm-hmm.
ball game. So whenever I got finished, I walked in there just as the ball game was ending. He was looking through stuff and he was like, "Hey, I think I want to watch this." And I was like, "That's fine. We can watch it."
Mm-hmm.
So we sat down, he started and everything. And I know it word for word.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I can literally recite Forrest Gump to
Mm-hmm.
you word for word. And he was like, "You gonna do this the whole show?" I was like, "You wanted to watch it. So it is what it is." But I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was a blast from the past, but I love Tom Hanks. So there's nothing that he's played in that
Yeah.
I can be. Have you watched the new Tom Hanks movie, Otto? A Man Called Otto? A Man Named
No, but
Otto? A Man Called Otto? It's
I have
very,
heard
very
some
good.
things about it. Yeah.
It's very, very good. We rented it and watched it on
Hmm.
Amazon Prime. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. We haven't
Yeah.
watched very many movies lately. We started the gym, and
Yeah. Yeah.
mm, so fun. I absolutely despise leg day and chest day and shoulder day, like all of it.
You despise it
Like,
all? I understand.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
like
Gotcha.
and y'all don't laugh at me, but kind of it's okay. Listen, I am using like super light weights because honestly, I have not worked out in years. I mean, years. We're
Yeah.
talking like 10 plus years. Like I haven't worked out since high school.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I've literally become a couch potato. I work from home. So I mean, I just sit there all day and I
Yeah.
work, so I don't like move around a lot. And it's really hard to get motivated sometimes to do things. And I think it's going to be really good, but I'm starting out really low because I don't want to like hurt myself,
Sure.
obviously.
Yeah.
And I'm using like 3-pound weights and they're killing me. Like, listen, I know it sounds ridiculous, but if you don't work those muscles out regularly, you don't realize like how tight
Mhm.
it gets
Yeah.
and how rough it can be.
Oh
Like
yeah.
he
Yeah.
even handed me 2 5-pound weights, and I start doing what he tells me to do, and I'm like, no,
This is not for me, babe.
you don't have
Sorry.
to send me to the hospital if I can't. Like, this is too much.
Yeah.
Like, and I know that it's a process, and we
Sure.
literally just started like a week ago. And then I went to a women's conference, so we had to put off a couple of extra days and everything. So
Yeah.
we don't have like a full on like regular process going, but man, it sucks. It
It'll get
straight
better.
sucks.
It'll get
It
better,
will.
but yeah. That's
It
that
the
first that
beginning part
yeah.
sucks.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna listen. It sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, when I did leg day for the first time ever in my life, I didn't know what people meant by, oh, I'm going to skip leg day. Like, I don't know why you would say that. Like, you want your whole body to be like, balanced, right?
Yeah.
Nope, I fully understand now.
Yeah. You get
Listen,
it.
I get it
Yeah.
from the pits of my soul. I get it. I didn't
Yeah.
even have weights on the freaking bar, and I start moving my legs, and I'm like, you want me to do what?
I'm sorry. This
Because
is
this
what?
sucks.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
might get stuck like this. Like, it hurts. It's
Yeah.
very painful.
Right.
But in the end, it'll be worth it,
It'll be
I'm
worth it.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
But yeah.
So I did want to tell you one thing. I kept it as a surprise. Look,
Oh,
I am not I can't edit on video. Okay.
uh-huh.
So what I put on YouTube is just us doing this right here. It is I have
I'm
one
cool with it.
video. I have one video.
Yay.
The very first video where you had your new webcam.
Yes.
I put that on YouTube. I
Okay.
think it's under my name right now, but it's also under Murderers and Monsters. It's kind of hard to find at this point. However, I'm going to try to do better on the whole getting it out there situation. I had to change the actual name of my channel to Murderers and Monsters because for some reason it was under my name. My guy at work he helped me out with that. So I did rename it. So I'm going to put this one
Mm-hmm.
on there too. But I am putting this on YouTube, so you guys go look. It might be under Marie Murphy. It might be under Murders and Monsters. If you really want to look, just keep looking.
And you'll get to
I'll
see
work
the
it
look on
out.
my face when I look surprised.
Right, right.
When I make all my
But
weird faces you can't hear, but you can clearly, what's happening.
right. So, at the bottom of all of our show notes, I have several different things where you can actually go to that site. And I do have our YouTube site on the bottom of our show notes because so that way, if you guys do want to go and watch us on YouTube, you can touch that link and it will take you there. So, and Shelby, I didn't tell you, I wanted it to be a surprise for you. So check it out. Do I edit? Do I add shit in? No, I don't because I can't. And I'm trying to figure it out. So just fucking bear with me as the best I can tell you. So, anything else you want to add before we shut it down?
No, I think that's good. I think we covered all our bases.
All right. Well, I got my little spiel. So thank you all so much for being with us. Please go like, subscribe, rate, review, and join us on our Facebook group page, Murderers and Monsters. We also have an email so you guys can send us ideas for future cases or your own personal true crime stories. Email us at murdersandmonsters1311@gmail.com. Or you can contact Shelby or myself by sending us a message on our Facebook group page. We would love for y'all to help us reach our goal of 1,000 downloads in 30 days. So tell your friends and family. I have recently published 2 of our Patreon episodes on our regular podcast platform as well. So y'all can see how crazy and off the wall some of those episodes get. You can also join our $5 a month Patreon Frankenstein Clan and get 2 extra episodes a month. Those will always be ad free. Go to patreon.com/murderers and monsters and sign up to hear those. We also have a website that lists all of our merch. Get it for the upcoming spooky season or for your true crime loving peeps for the holidays. We also have a TikTok, Murderers and Monsters, and I just told y'all about our YouTube page. So until next week, monsters do exist.
Don't be a victim.
Bye, guys.